Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Emily. And we are the Conscious Collaboration Podcast. What up, Lisa?
Hey, Emily. How's it going?
It's cool. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, and
Tuesday, my new favorite day of the week.
Is
it? It's the day I get everything done. Just everything on a Tuesday.
Yeah, going up on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Word. So today, we're going to continue with a theme that we've talked about before. We've talked about celebrating wins, big or small, different reasons for that. It's something that I try to incorporate in now every conversation with my clients, certainly finding challenges that they've been facing, but also acknowledging their wins at every check-in. So this idea of wins and acknowledging wins can really just help to kind of keep momentum going, regardless of what your goals are in fitness, health, and life in general. So with that in mind, I saw a graphic on a social media account that I like. It's kind of a, I guess, motivational.
Yeah, I like it. It's
quote kind of account.
Businessy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so, and I think this person, the creator of the account, maybe just wrote a book, I might have seen. So the account is change your perception. Your is just the UR. So change your perception on Instagram. If you want to check that out, it's pretty good stuff. Little bite size, motivation and insight. So, but the one in particular that I really liked and kind of wanted to springboard off of is where he's talking about 3 daily wins. So evaluating 3 daily wins. So 1 physical win, 1 mental win, and 1 spiritual win. And I thought it would be cool to sort of maybe incorporate it as like a little mini challenge for yourself, address and document every day for 7 days, one of each win, and just kind of see what happens, see how you feel, see how it, sets the tone for the following week and stuff like that. So I thought that we would kind of go through that, drum up some ideas for each category, and yeah, just kind of see what happens there. So first, daily win being a physical win. I think this one's pretty obvious, I guess, pretty self-explanatory. So any kind of a workout or exercise would work here. I don't think it's any mystery what my kind of go-to is. Of course, I hit the weights pretty often, but it's not necessarily to my benefit to hit the weights every day. So even I try not to have any 0 days, right? Like even on my rest day, I'm gonna do some walking, some leisurely walking, ideally outdoors, that kind of thing. I teach my restorative flow on my restore day. So
and what's restorative flow, if you want to explain that to people that aren't following, and also where they can watch?
Sure. So it's a class that I teach a couple times a week here at the studio. And it's also streamed for free every Sunday in a private Facebook group that's called Studio Fam. So if you like free yoga, those classes actually stay in there forever. I live stream them on Sundays, but they're in there forever. So you can just scroll through, and there's actually a couple years worth of free yoga in there. And that's Studio is spelled STUDIEAUX. So that's Studio Fam if you want to join. But basically, it's a restorative yoga class. Yoga is just more so kind of the vessel of delivery, I guess. I'm really, it's super chill. You don't actually need to have any yoga experience or knowledge to take the class. I really, try to engineer it to where literally almost anybody could take the class and get some value from it. That is my hope. But I incorporate a lot of the fascia based movement concepts that I've been studying and working with over the years. We do a lot of breathing and just activation of the parasympathetic nervous system. So great relief for stress and anxiety and different kinds of pain and things of that nature. So it's a great way to move your body, without a ton of exertion. And most of us, in the vein of our hustle culture, grind culture episode last week, most of us are in dire need of some parasympathetic nervous system activation. So, yeah, so check that class out if you want. That could certainly fit into your category to check off a daily physical win. And, I could argue that it could fit into the other two boxes as well.
Yeah, I was
What about you?
thinking.
What's your go-to physical
So
win?
one thing that we talk a lot about, of course, coming from the field of feng shui and working with the environment, is taking all walks.
Hmm.
And so all walks meaning like preferably in nature, but anywhere outdoors. Not everyone has the ability to go walk along a beach or like in a
Sure.
forest like we do where we live, but just to be outside and to not necessarily be walking for the sake of burning calories, but to really
Right.
just appreciate nature. And I was just quickly looking at my phone to see because I don't know who coined the term, and there's so many articles on the health benefits of taking all walks that it's lost and buried. And it's something that's practiced internationally, but it's just, a way to, I think, to your point, it can fit into all three of these categories,
Yep.
physical, mental, and spiritual.
It
So,
could, depending on kind of the intention behind it and,
mhm.
how hard you're getting after it and things like that.
Yeah. So, like, one thing that we like to do is like, not that we're gonna be super active or anything during it, but we'll take pictures of, like, patterns that we see, if there's the people up north that are taking pictures of snowflakes or ice crystals or leaf patterns or that type of thing, just really appreciating the cool things that we see that are created in nature. So,
Yeah.
I think
So maybe could knock out a couple birds with one stone there, but
but yeah, I mean,
you know,
strength training, I prefer strength training now that I'm not a runner any longer. That's, a great way to start the day. Like you always say, you can do hard things. So if you can make it through a strength training workout, especially in the beginning of the day, the rest of the day, you can compartmentalize like, yeah, I can do hard things.
yeah,
So,
for sure. It sets the tone in that way. And I just want to add, in terms of physical wins, while yes, you do want to, intentionally challenge yourself to a certain degree with your physical workouts. Our physical wins, our workouts should always leave you feeling better at the end, right? Even an intense strength workout, you shouldn't be approaching these things with like a punishing sort of mindset where you feel like dead at the end of it. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Um, People will kind of joke, oh, I kicked their ass in a training session or whatever. But really, that's not what we're doing, right? We're
Yeah,
we're
that's certainly
actually
not.
working
Yeah.
to improve skills of certain exercises and mind to muscle connection and things like that.
Mhm.
Because the value in exercise does not actually come from, leaving
Mhm.
in a pool of sweat and blood and tears and
Well, we
soreness.
were
So
talking about that yesterday too. I don't want to get controversial or anything, but I've done various different types of workouts throughout the years, from things that are in sports training to dance to boot camp style to boxing to Orange Theory. And you know, at my age, in my 40s, it just doesn't appeal to me as much anymore. Like, there was at this one point, like, a short period of time where it would trigger, like, especially when the tracking watches and things started coming out, it, like, would trigger, like, hit, like, some pleasure center that I burned more calories than I took in today kind of thing.
yeah,
Um, and that doesn't appeal to me at all anymore. But
yeah,
really just being able to at least find, 20 minutes, here and there to take walks or to be active or to do something that's not sitting and designing or presenting or whatnot, that's a win for me. 'Cause-
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's sort of a separate conversation, but just keep in mind that our activity uh is not, we don't want to be using our activity to like chase a calorie burn,
right,
like you
right,
were
right.
saying, even in the case where you're immediately in a fat loss phase, right? So
Mhm.
but yeah, physical win definitely makes it easier to carry over and achieve the other wins, in my opinion. So mental wins, y- you know uh creating something, reading a book or a document or an article that you're interested in, working on something that you're learning, um, any of those things I think could be considered mental wins. Anything where you have to use your brain power, right, to achieve something. um and yeah, I could also argue maybe like a mindset win
Mhm.
could kind of fit in there, like if there's a certain mindset shift sort of habit that you're working on, or even like like I did my cold shower this morning and that was hard. I didn't want to.
Mhm.
So which I would consider a mental oriented challenge to overcome. So I think any
Yeah,
of
I
those
think
things
like
could apply, but it
even just
really, if you
like
have to create something with your brain, I think
yeah,
that's really uh where
the
the
idea,
where the
yeah,
good
something
stuff's
where you have to
at.
use your headspace. I think
Mhm.
Headspace is even like an app that feeds you,
Mhm.
short, digestible books that you can read instead of scrolling. I think it's called Headspace. I could be wrong. But there's, I think also that mental part of it too could be using all of your brain power, like you said, in creating, but also in like doing something new, like um,
Mhm.
presenting or negotiating or um,
Mhm.
within the business realm. That's a huge like mental capacity.
Mhm.
It really, like I'm talking today about coming into this podcast, but before joining you today, like the beginning part of my day took up so much of my mental capacity that I just had to like unplug for a little bit. And a lot of it
Mhm.
was because I was trying to figure out things I haven't, necessarily done before. And then also doing a lot of math. I'm going to put math in there.
Yeah,
um,
well, and it's
Spreadsheets.
context, because what you're is like some days it just depends on what's going on, what the mental win could be, because sometimes the mental win could be more of an unplug situation. Some days we're required to use our brain power so much that it's just like draining. So Yeah, I think in that way that one could kind of swing several different ways. I also had a thought, um, Duolingo. Olivia, my daughter, uh, told me that she and a couple of her little friends just got Duolingo to learn Japanese.
Yeah, I do Duolingo. It's a daily practice of mine. I think I'm
Mhm.
on day, like, 564 or something.
I've gone on and off for Spanish several times, and I haven't done it in a while. What language are you doing?
Spanish.
Spanish, yeah.
That's what I learned all through school and, into
Yeah.
college, and when we made a trip to go to Costa Rica a couple years ago, I was like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
really wanna, like, use my best Spanish," and I didn't Duolingo enough to prepare for any of the situations, but it is like it's a daily habit of mine. Even if I just do it for 3 minutes, sometimes I'll do it for, you know, longer than that, but, um, it's something that's, makes you feel like a win because it does, like, a little congratulatory, like,
It is, yeah.
praise
No, I
you.
think
Yeah.
Duolingo is a really great like structure for that, and you can do it in little bite-sized lessons. So, but I was pretty tickled to to hear her say that, and she's like, she told me a couple words that she had learned, and they teach them the characters too.
Oh, that's cool. I like
So,
that.
yeah, yeah, there she's really into Sanrio, so that's like I thought that's why you would choose Japanese, but so yeah, learning a language I think would be a really awesome thing to fit in there. And then a spiritual win. There are some more obvious choices there: prayer, meditation, going to church, or some sort of, similar type of service or meeting. Um, Personal development, fill in the blank. That could be all sorts of different practices. But and a lot of this I think could be very self-defined as well. Whatever spiritual and spirituality means to you, I think could definitely fit that bill. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of crossovers, for me personally between mental and spiritual, but I think a lot about
Sure.
too, like the intention of our whole podcast is the alignment of a lot of these components that we're talking about, and how that relates to being a business owner, entrepreneur, or thought leader, visionary. And but I like how that we're using three here numerically. And I think that feels like a bigger win when you can go back and reflect on your day. Like, I'm not sure that I'll think about it. Um, Maybe it's an intentional thing, which so Emily, I don't know why my camera keeps turning off. Mercury's in retrograde, by the way.
Oh,
Um,
is it?
yeah.
That's probably why.
Um, so is this something that we intentionally should start out doing in the day for the 7-day challenge
No,
or
I think it
reflection?
would be an end of day
I do
thing. I think
too.
that would be a
Like,
great way to, go to bed
that's what I think too.
with that sort of. I think that's like in the stoicism philosophies somewhere too, like acknowledge your victories or something like that at the end of the
Mhm.
day. And same as setting the tone at the beginning of a day, it sort of put the punctuation on the end of the day, and perhaps, might prevent the sort of uh thoughts racing at night, kind of thing, if that's something you tend towards. I'm raising my hand.
Unless there's something
So
that if there's a bucket you didn't complete if you can't reflect on something that you did that was physical or mental and you're going to bed and you're like, "Oh, now I have to do something physical." I mean, you could do something still. But hopefully, maybe in
right,
the
well,
7-day challenge, it becomes a habit.
Yeah, or I mean, you could start the day by planning what what each one is going to be, and acknowledging when you're going to do that, and then acknowledging that they've been done at the end of the day. And I think that's just a good way to because we're talking about just whole person holistic health, right? That's what it means, just looking at the whole person. And it's a good way to ensure balance, um sort of in the macro sense, because it's easy enough to kind of lean into one aspect in certain phases of life more so than the
Mhm.
other, especially if you're doing some sort of physical pursuit, or doing some sort of learning pursuit where you already are guaranteed to have certain boxes checked off each day. So I think it's a good way to make sure that the others, especially if you're doing something like that, to make sure that the others still get at least some acknowledgement.
Yeah. I like thinking of them as like buckets, like how much are the because at the end of the day, you probably realize, oh my gosh, I've filled so much into my physical bucket and so much into mental, but what have I done spiritual? But at the same time, I think that it feeds into that positivity, that positive self talk and programming your brain to see
Yeah.
the good things in a day that we talk about all the time because it's so easy, like you said, to forget about celebrating even the small wins. So,
Well, and I
it's
think it's a good way just to manifest all the things that you're trying to manifest, but wellness,
Mhm,
right? By intentionally being in this energy of, okay, let me make sure I put at least a drop into each bucket every day, even if it's the tiniest drop.
mhm,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? It just kind of like, and especially if we're doing this at the end of the day, like it's not intended to be like some rigid structured thing, but just so that we've placed some kind of intention, some kind of drop
yeah.
into each
I
into
think
each
it's
bucket.
nice, because it probably is gonna demonstrate to everybody at the end of, the 7-week trial or challenge, if you wanna participate, that you really do contribute so much into these different areas, so much that maybe they even overflow. But it's so important to have all these components so that you can have the momentum and the energy to spill over into all the other areas. And,
Hmm.
you're talk I know it's water is kind of the thing that comes to mind with filling buckets, but in feng shui, the center of our Bagua map is the holistic health and wellness. So it's all of these components at the center hub of all the
Hmm.
energy. So it holds in place the wealth, the fame and reputation, relationships, creativity, travel, helpful people, career, self knowledge and wisdom, and family. All those things are all centered within the center of them are holistic health and wellness. So you can't have all those things um, even, flowing in any way without that being nourished. So that's
Yeah.
like that grounding, earth energy.
Yeah. I think it's just a good exercise too, as kind of an evaluation, because maybe until you are, not forced, but until you decide to sit there and intentionally think about it, you may not realize that, one of your buckets is a lot heavier than the other. So, yeah, I think, like I say, without putting too much pressure on like the achievement part of it, it's just a good way to kind of take the temperature and see what's going on, and what might could use a bit more
Yeah,
or a bit less
I like
of
it.
your
It builds on
energy.
what we were talking about last episode. It's more of that nourishing yourself, returning to self. And it's so easy to get disconnected and forget that we need to take care of ourselves in any situation. So I like it a lot. And I think it'll be a
I
fun
like it a lot.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
are you gonna write yours down in a journal or something? Are we gonna put our homework inside of the Facebook group?
I don't know. Are we? Should we? I don't know.
Maybe we should.
Maybe we should.
We'll see. We'll see if people want to participate inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective on Facebook.
Yeah. 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 I think it's a good idea. Like I said, I'm doing it with all my coaching clients. I think it's a good idea to regularly just check in with wins in general. So anytime you want to share your wins with us in the Conscious Collaboration Collective on Facebook, we are open and all ears, and we would love to hear about your wins and successes, big and small, physical, mental, spiritual, business, all the above. We want to hear it.
Yay! Let's do it. Well, it's been fun. Thank you. I like it. Good topic.
Good topic. Good talk.
Good
Good
talk.
talk, bro.
So, also speaking about wins, this is episode 99 for us.
99. Yes.
Double nine.
I
So,
love it.
yeah,
Great day for a list of 3.
Yes, it is. So congratulations to us.
Yes.
And thanks everybody for supporting us and your likes and your shares and your subscribes and sharing with friends. So love it. All right, Emily.
Love it.
Thank
Keep
you.
keep rolling.
Yes. Another 100. All right. Talk to you in 5.
Talk to you in 5. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.